Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you've had a very wonderful week. For those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe to the page. And thank you all for starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from today. I am in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. And for those of you who do not know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So it's one of my favorite months of the year, of course, because it celebrates all things mental health. There's so many different events and there's so many different opportunities to share for every single one of us, really, to share mental health and what is beneficial for us as far as our wellness and as far as us growing as individuals and helping others around us. So it's a really exciting month. I love Mental Health Awareness Month. So again, thanks for those who are still starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Before we get started today, I also have a super exciting announcement. So for those of you who have been tuning in for a while, I know some of you have tuned in for years. And first of all, let me just say thank you so much for all your support over the years, like years and years of Mental Health Moment. Thank you so much. But nonetheless, for those of you, even if you tune in the last couple of months here on Mental Health Moment or the last couple of weeks, I have been talking about my new and upcoming book, and I'm super excited to announce that it is officially on pre-order, you all. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you, as an author, whew, it's a really exciting day. So I want to share that with you all, of course. So on the screen here, you see the information here, but you can pre-order the book at mindsettrainingbook.com. And the name of the book is Mindset Training, Conquer Your Mind and the Rest Will Follow, because what I've learned as a psychologist over the past 15 years now is that like our mindsets are so powerful, but there's so many things that pop up in our lives. Some things amazing, some things great, some things not so great and disappointing, dark times, happy times. Like there's all these emotions, there's all these things that happen in our life. But when we work on really getting a hold of our mindset and really training ourselves, how do we grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally? How do we have that growth? How do we become a better person? Right? Hopefully that's a lot of our goals, to become a better person. And to grow and to learn how to navigate life. So that, in a nutshell, is what the book's all about. But again, you can get more information about it at mindsettrainingbook.com. And because I like giving things away, if you do pre-order the book today, then you also get a ton of like really cool bonuses. And again, mindsettrainingbook.com has all the information, but a ton of really cool bonuses as well for really thinking about supporting this book and supporting yourself. More importantly, this is my celebration hat, you all, because today is a very special day. As I mentioned, as an author, like I was telling my husband the other day, well, it's not quite like birthing a child, but it reminded me the process of writing a book, of birthing a child, because there's just so many things to think about. It's just a long process. There's a lot that goes into it. So one of the steps of this process is pre-order, and it's officially open and available for pre-order. So I'm celebrating today, you all. I'm not usually wearing hats to Mental Health Moment, but I thought I would celebrate with you all tonight. So today's Mental Health Moment. And for those of you who are new, by the way, to Mental Health Moment, you're like, what in the world is this all about? So Mental Health Moment is about how do you become the best version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for those around you. So a lot of the tips we talk about on Mental Health Moment are strategies for you to implement, for you to think about, for you to learn and understand yourself. Sometimes if you look back on some older YouTube clips for Mental Health Moment, sometimes it's things that I ask you to ask yourself, and then sometimes there's tips that I'm teaching you and different things for you to do and start to implement in your life. So that being said, today's Mental Health Moment, essentially, because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and actually this was something that came up that I thought was interesting in a talk I did very recently, with community members, and there was something that a lady asked me, and it really triggered me to think, man, let me share this on Mental Health Moment. So when I was doing a presentation about stress management and burnout prevention and those sorts of tips for the group I was doing the organization, or for the group that I was speaking at, one of the ladies in the audience, when we talked about social support, and we've talked about that before in Mental Health Moment, but when we were talking about social support and how important it is for you to be connected, right, to something or someone, and it doesn't have to be family, it doesn't have to be friends, it could be coworkers, it could be someone at a place of worship, it could be a therapist or whomever it is for you, like hopefully more than one person, but even if it's a couple people in your life, like where's your support system? Because there's a lot of studies that have shown how powerful it is when we have positive social support in our lives and what that can do for our mental health, right? So when I was sharing this at the event, I had a lady that had a question, and she was like, well, at the end of the presentation, and she said, what if I don't feel like I have anyone positive in my life right now? And so it's a great question, right? So many of you, if you reflect and you think on, again, whom it is in your life that, well, maybe there's some people that are toxic, maybe there's some people that are positive for you, maybe you have a combination of those people. Most people have a combination of people like that. But if you are in her boat and you're in a situation right now where you're like, man, I don't feel like there's a lot of positive people around me, then just know that there are many communities that do care about you. So interestingly enough, the event I went to what also had a mental health resource fair there as well, and there was different vendors and different resources, local resources in the community, and some of them were support groups, right? So that's one way. If you're a person that's like, you know what, I would love to join a support group. If you're in the U.S., for example, there's a place called NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness. Actually, I'll put it here in the comments. NAMI. Hopefully it'll go through. Actually, let me put their website. And hopefully you all, I think you all can see it on your end, even though for some reason I can't see your comments a lot of the times. But NAMI.org, for example, National Alliance on Mental Illness, they have support groups all over the country, right? And well, I know for our area where we're at in the Tampa Bay area, actually it was a neighboring county, but nonetheless, they had even virtual support groups as well. So that's not the only place. NAMI's not the only place. That's just one example. But I mean, literally, if you do a Google search, support groups for fill in the blank. Is it depression, anxiety? Maybe it's a physical health issue you have. Maybe it's something else going on in your life that you just need more support for, and you're open to a group setting. That can be a way for you to think about, how can I have more social support in my life? The other thing I wanted to share with you, which actually a lot came up this week. The other thing I wanted to share with you, I was doing a podcast interview recently, which when it comes out, I will let you all know. But one of the things that came up, because we talk a lot about being healthy in a workplace environment, because many of you know that I often work with different corporations and organizations about burnout prevention and about leadership skills and about stress management. And the host of the interview, the podcast host, asked me, he said, what if there are certain environments, work environments, where people just don't care about you? Like you don't feel like you're cared about, and you walk into this work environment and maybe you have to work a lot of hours that way, and you don't feel like anybody there cares. Because ideally, what I teach different organizations to do is to care and to make sure your employees and managers and whomever it is feel heard, feel understood. How do we change the culture? But if that is not the case, and I share this with you because maybe you're in this boat, you have two options. One option, well, first of all, let me put an asterisk on this. I am not telling you to leave your jobs if you're unsatisfied with your job. So Dr. Hammond didn't tell you that, but I am sharing that technically one option is to leave that workplace environment if it's a difficult environment, or you can change your mindset if you are unable to leave it or you don't really want to leave it. Maybe things will change, whatever it is, right? So literally there's one of those two choices that you have to make. So another reason why I really thought about writing this book on mindset, going back to that, is because it's so like it's so powerful when you shift your mindset. If you're in that situation where you're like, man, I can't get out of my particular work situation, let's say, but I know I can change my mindset toward, maybe it's a difficult manager, or I can change my mindset towards the workload that I have, or the type of work I'm doing, or whatever it is that's causing you stress. Sometimes, again, that those parts of the job won't change, but you can change. Your mindset can change. And what's fascinating to me, you all, is that, and many of you know who have been on Mental Health Moment here for a while, that I've had the opportunity to travel to so many different states, to so many different countries, and I've learned so much about people. And what I could share with you during this Mental Health Awareness Month, especially, is that your mindset is not only so powerful. I've met people with very little, per se. And when I say little, like material things, little, and have been the happiest people I've ever met in my life, honestly. And just the most positive mindset, an amazing attitude. They're thriving in life for what they believe is happiness and they want their life to be, which is a beautiful thing to witness. And then there's individuals who, by most people's definitions, have a lot of material things, and they're struggling with depression and with anxiety, with unhappiness and lack of fulfillment, right? And so that's like two ends of the spectrum, but really your mindset is everything. Your mindset is so important. So even in those difficult times, if you're in a time right now, and it might not even be work related, but if you're in a time right now where you're like, I am in a difficult situation, depending on what it is, because there's a lot of different life situations, but a lot of times your mindset can get you through. If you're just tuning in, we're talking today. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. Yay! So I'm celebrating that, and I'm celebrating that my new book is available on pre-order. So it's mindsettrainingbook.com. I would love for you all to grab a copy. And again, there's so many, I think, really fun bonuses that you get for pre-ordering the book. So I encourage you to check that out and share that information with your friends and family and whomever else, because mindset is really, really important. And that was, well, I go a lot more into it with my interview with Dr. Jackie King, which you'll have access to if you pre-order the book. But it's really, really important, and I'm completely honored to have written that book for the community. What I encourage you to do, something that I encourage you to think about for Mental Health Awareness Month, if you are on any form of social media, you're watching this, so you probably are, or even any form of traditional media, or however you get your information, you probably have seen something related to mental health this month. I really encourage you, though, especially during this month, to really take the time to reflect for you, like, where is your mindset, right? And what I mean by that is, what place are you in? I'm always encouraging you all, as you know, on Mental Health Moment, to make sure you're checking in with yourself. One of the things that I've seen, again, through all my travels, like for many, many years, meeting thousands and thousands of people from a lot of different walks of life, is that we often, and I say we as a whole, we often don't check in with ourselves enough. We are not reflecting on how are we doing, because life is busy, life is hectic, something came up. I don't know if I told you all already, but in the past month, I think, or maybe 4 to 6 weeks, I've had like 2 flat tires. True story. Why? Who knows? I was just like, really? Had a flat tire. And then like 2 to 3 weeks later, I had another flat tire in another tire. I'm just like, what is going on here? Right? So, I mean, life happens, like literally your flat tire. And when I say flat tire, I do mean figuratively for you, whatever that is, where you're like, why did this happen today? Something popped up, something was distracting. You thought you were doing this today, you got some news, like all of those things start to happen, because that's life. But unfortunately, what we tend to do is, because all of those things are popping up, we tend to everything else around us, instead of looking internally and thinking about, where is my mindset? How am I doing? What do I need? What changes do I need to make today? Right? When you get into that type of mindset, you will see your life start to shift. And perspective is huge. You will start to see, no, the problems don't go away, but the way you look at the world, the way you react to the problems, the way you process what is happening to you. All of that changes when you change your mindset. That's literally it in a nutshell. I just told you, all right, all the things that I've learned over 15 years in one simple sentence. But nonetheless, it's really important. Again, that's what mental health moment is all about, is really thinking about week to week, like what changes can you make? What can you put into place for you? Always thinking about resetting, recharging, thinking about your mental health. I was just thinking back to the presentation I did last week, the talk I did, and I had another gentleman. I remember he was asking, we were talking about setting boundaries, and he's like, well, how do I how do I say no? Because sometimes it's hard, right? So one of the ways for you to think about that is asking yourself, this is a good question to ask yourself often as well, is asking yourself, is this good for my mental health? Literally, when you have a decision to make, you're like, man, do I need to go this way or do I need to go this way? A lot of times we have forks in the road. When you ask yourself, is this good for my mental health? I mean, it's most times it's either yes or no. If it's not, then it's like, do you really need to go in that do you really need to go in that direction, right? Or can you do something else? But that's just one way for you to think about. There's a lot of questions, as I mentioned, for us all to be thinking about when we think about our mental health. But getting into that, even the mindset of saying, what do I need right now? How am I doing? What do I need? What steps do I need to take? Getting to a fork in the road, you need the clarity, asking yourself, is this good for my mental health? Right. So it's really going, always reflecting back to you so you can make yourself your number one priority. That is the goal, I hope, for each and every one of you, especially this mental health moment. Sorry, especially this mental health moment in my brain, especially this mental health awareness month. That's something that I hope for you. You work on shifting your mindset and getting to the point where you can honestly say, I am making myself my number one priority. Right? I know a lot of people, I don't know if you guys have seen online, a lot of people celebrate, instead of birthdays now, it's like birthday week or birthday month, or that sort of thing, which I think is pretty cool. I usually do, right now I do like birthday week. My birthday's in October, but I do birthday week. I'm not quite to birthday month, but I do think it's really cool for people that I see that just like are like, I'm celebrating all month long. That's a beautiful thing. So I encourage you, even if it's not your birthday month this month, but for Mental Health Awareness Month, I do encourage you to think about, how do you celebrate yourself, getting to a point where you're resetting, you're recharging, and putting a lot of the things that you've learned in place. So I'm going to wrap up here. If you ever miss a mental health moment, you can always go to Dr. Nekeshia Hammond YouTube and watch the replays on there, because I did have some people reaching out and they're like, man, I've been missing your mental health moments. And I'm like, yeah, we're here every week. Also, before I wrap up, the conference that I was telling you all about, Get to Worthy Summit, is going to be May 24th and May 25th in Philadelphia. It's gettoworthysummit.com. You can purchase your tickets. Hammond10 is the discount code. Let me see if I can bring that up really quick for you, actually. Okay, there we go. So yes, before I hop off of here, just remind you all, gettoworthysummit.com. You can register you can register for the Get to Worthy Summit on that website. May 24th, May 25th in Philadelphia. I will be speaking there. The promo code you can use for discount is Hammond10. So my last name, Hammond10. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be hosted by a dear friend of mine, Nate Evans Jr. I'm so excited for this summit, y'all. I've been excited for this summit, but it's really going to be amazing. There's going to be amazing panelists. There's going to be amazing speakers. It's just set up so beautifully. It is for your mental health and emotional wellness summit. So be sure to check it out if you're in the area during that time, and I hope to see you there. And let me go back here. And again, be sure to pre-order your book. MindsetTrainingBook.com is the website. I will be back. So be well for this week. Remember, take this whole entire month, celebrate yourself, get into a mode where you can make yourself your number one priority during Mental Health Awareness Month. And I will see you all next week. Have a great week, y'all. Bye, guys.